Yakuza Dead Souls is a phenomenal horror-themed RPG, a great Yakuza game, but just an okay shooter. If you go into the game playing it as a stop-and-go third-person shooter like Resident Evil, you'll be sorely disappointed. If you go into it with an open mind, able to overlook its shallow combat, you'll have a great time. Dead Souls may be a spin-off, but the story is treated with the same care as any numbered entry of the franchise. Something is wrong in Kamurocho. People are falling victim to a mysterious mob of monsters. Kazuma and Co. once again get pulled into an adventure filled with twists, turns, and surprises. The story acknowledges its own ludicrous tropes, just as the main games have fun with their sometimes overdramatic storylines. It also pulls lore and plots from previous titles, so series vets will have a lot to look for. If you're a horror fan, you'll appreciate the game's humor. If you're a Yakuza fan, you'll love the heart put into telling a coherent and meaningful tale. There are 4 characters to choose from: Kazuma, Goro, Akiyama, and Ryuji. Series vets will remember Ryuji as Yakuza 2's antagonist. Well, he's no longer dead. In fact, now he's got a chain gun arm. Each character starts off with their own class of weapon, though other characters can acquire variations of these weapons. Enemies attack in numbers, getting bigger and meaner the deeper you get into the quarantine zone. Money and special parts are needed to construct and upgrade weaponry. You may have visited Kamiyama's weapons truck in past games. In Dead Souls, you'll be living there. Dead Souls' biggest advancement over past games is the fact that upgrading your equipment truly matters. Combat isn't just a distraction, it's the game. It's addicting getting that new weapon, loading up on supplies, and then seeing how far you can make it before needing to restock or heal. Like past games, Dead Souls packs in a staggering amount of content. Though you'll be eager to progress the storyline, it's easy to get swept away in the game's other distractions. Side quests are in abundance here. You can train AI-controlled partners, you can liberate businesses in the quarantine zone, you can complete missions and challenges for a mysterious doctor. Dining, hostesses, arcade games, gambling, spa days, fishing, and more look to steal your time. Not to mention the random encounters you'll find wandering about in the quarantine zone. Perhaps the most robust of all are the subterranean missions. This roguelike dungeon challenges players to an endless level of resistance depending on how long your stamina and supplies can last. The mix of traditional and new gameplay variations make this one of, if not the, most expansive Yakuza game. How does it actually play? Just like Yakuza. Is that a bad thing? For a third-person shooter, kind of. Dead Souls focuses on gunplay more than anything. You can engage in melee combat, picking up environmental makeshift weaponry. This is rather pointless and frankly should have been removed from the game entirely. Shooting, on the other hand, works alright. You can stop and aim, which is useful for boss battles or hitting weak points. However, most of the time you'll simply be running and strafing. It works just like gunplay in past Yakuza games. It isn't terribly deep, but there is a satisfaction in mowing down hordes of the undead, sniping a screamer from a distance, or using a heat move on a nearby gas truck to take down a horde of zombies. Seeing Kamurocho in ruins is pretty cool, as tons of toys have been left behind for you to use. Whether you're exploring the crumbling ruins of the city or stepping out for a drink with your squeeze, there is a lot of fun to be had in this biological war zone. Enemies repeat in their placement, so grinding through the same set of baddies again and again can get a bit boring by the end of the game, but the feel for each new gun you obtain will be enough to keep you entertained for most of the way. Running on the same engine as Yakuza 4 and PS3 games before it, Yakuza Dead Souls doesn't look great. In-game visuals lack detail, most noticeable when you enter a conversation. The muddy and plain constructions in-game are quite bad. The game also slows to a crawl when things get busy. The soundtrack is also quite weak and has far too much repetition. Cinematics and voice acting are presented nicely, however. Though it's only a spin-off, it's too bad more effort wasn't put into tweaking the engine for the new gameplay. Yakuza Dead Souls is a ton of fun. It's got a deep upgrade system, a buffet of side content, and a satisfying storyline. Despite its lackluster presentation, horror and RPG fans will have a lot of fun in this wacky Japanese adventure.